Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Permission To. As many of you may know, I am currently on maternity leave, but I really didn't want to put the podcast on hold. So I have actually handed over Permission to the beautiful Lucy Ann Lewis. So she is going to be a co-host for a couple of months while I am on leave. Lucy is one of the mentor coaches in Permission Granted and a dear client and a dear friend. And I know that I am leaving you in really good hands. This is also an example of what I'm all about, which is receiving support and trusting others. So I am placing my trust in Lucy, and I know that she is going to be a beautiful co-host for while I'm on leave. So enjoy this next episode. You're listening to Permission To, the podcast where we dive into the science and soul of owning your worthiness as a perfectly imperfect human being. I'm your host, Sam Dew, psychotherapist, positive psychology coach, mama to a beautiful 5-year-old Amelie, and passionate advocate for living an inspired life. My aim is to show you that you have full permission to own your worthiness so that you can embrace your true nature and begin walking boldly toward your dreams. Let's dive in.
After a life-saving medication has given her the energy and time to do some real living, Katie wants other people to see what's plain as day to her, how fucking marvellous and full of good ideas they are. Katie lives with cystic fibrosis. Her professional background is a writer, working in public service for over a decade. She's now beginning her training in two things she absolutely loves: barre fitness and life coaching. Katie lives with her partner Ben and their cat Muffin, and spends as much time as possible with her sister and 8-month-old niece. Hi, Katie, welcome.
Thanks. How's it going?
Oh, I'm so excited to be talking to you.
You too.
I guess we'll start off. Why don't you tell me about Katie a few years ago? Can you tell me more about like where you were and what led you to sign up to Permission Granted?
Yeah. So a few years ago, my health with cystic fibrosis was actually declining quite quickly. This is just in the year before the bushfires, so throughout 2018 and 19. I'd been going reasonably stably for a long time. And in those last couple of years, I just started to have back-to-back hospital admissions for chest infections. And I'd become really sort of demoralized, like I'd lost my conviction that I'd be able to bounce back. So I'd lost a lot of muscle mass. I'd sort of dropped from my happy weight down to 49 kilos, which is looking skinny for me. And I was just exhausted. I was so tired. And I thought I need to sort of lift my spirits if I'm going to survive and maintain my life. And I might have lost some physical capabilities and capacities. Like I might not be able to do some of the physical things I love, like ski, very easily anymore. But I need to find what good and what joy there is. I also, at the end of 2019, someone I thought of as a really good friend sort of couldn't handle where I was and just disappeared and broke my heart quite a bit. And I'd sort of held up that person as a source of light and sunshine and joy. And it hit me quite suddenly when the smoke rolled in from the bushfires. I was in hospital and just watched it came over the hill into Canberra and obscure the car park mere meters away. And it sort of hit me really suddenly that I need to find that light and that joy in me.
Yeah.
How am I going to do this? So I was discharged from hospital on the proviso that I didn't stop at home, went straight to the airport and went to Brisbane to get out of the city and out of the smoke. And I just spent sort of that whole week visiting the public library in Brisbane
Mhm.
and looking inwards and journaling and looking for prompts to help me with that. And that sort of led me down a chain that eventually led me to discover Sam and permission granted the next year, like 2020. And I'd already sort of found a bit more joy and happiness. So I'd gotten access to a life-saving drug called Trikafta, which is unbelievable. It changed my lung function from the very best it could get to was sort of 38%. All of a sudden in 10 days, it just went straight up to 52%.
Oh my goodness.
And it's sort of stayed there. It's really stable now. And 52% doesn't sound like much, but it's enough to live a very comfortable, very active, very enjoyable life. And the stability has been such a rest. So when the world has been facing this massive pandemic, I've had the most stable health I've had in my life. And it's been wonderful. So I've got the headspace to sort of back down from my hypervigilance, thinking about where my physical symptoms are, like my heart rate every day, all the time, to actually step back from my life and see it in a bigger picture.
Yeah.
And finding Sam and working with her on sort of the things that she does best, which is working on your worthiness and just making you sort of realize how good you can feel about yourself, has just changed my world completely. And I've loved every second of it. Yeah.
My goodness. What a story. Oh my goodness. And like, I guess like to go from like that and the crazy bushfires straight into a pandemic.
It's been interesting for everybody. Like
everybody.
Yeah.
But like there's another layer, I guess, living with a chronic illness. Why don't you tell us a little bit about cystic fibrosis? Because I got to be honest, like I don't know much about it.
Yeah. So the old bumper stickers used to say cystic fibrosis affects lungs, digestion, and life. And that sums it up quite well. So it's one little genetic problem that has a whole ripple effect of a billion T pathologies. But basically the biggest things it does is it makes the mucus that your body produces really thick and salty. And that means that your lungs are just a beautiful breeding ground for bacteria that normally you just wouldn't cause a problem, but they set up house and basically eat your lungs. And that causes scar tissue and leaves you really vulnerable to sort of pneumonia and that sort of stuff. A lot of people also have digestive problems. So the mucus in their pancreas stops their pancreas releasing digestive enzymes, which means you don't absorb all the vitamins that a normal person would out of their food. So a body that's already sort of using a lot of energy to fight forever infections doesn't get as much energy from the food it eats. So it just, most of us tend to pass away from respiratory failure, but there are heaps of other complications as well.
Yeah. Wow. So yeah, that medication would have been just like you say, like a miracle.
It is. It's amazing. There's a family of medications like that now, and they've only been coming onto the market in the last 5 years or so. This one's still not subsidized by the government. We're waiting. The decision should happen late January for people over 12, and fingers crossed it becomes subsidized, because my access is through a compassionate program that the manufacturer runs, that they're no longer letting new people join. So there are people whose lives could be saved, who won't have their lives saved if it doesn't get listed very soon. Yeah.
Fingers crossed, because it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Oh my God, that's so amazing! Like that they can actually, and just that's like when you're talking about your lung function, like that is quite a large jump, right? Like.
Yeah. So when you say something like 35% of predicted, when it jumps to 50% of predicted, that's almost a doubling in my actual capacity.
Yeah.
Like it completely changes the biomechanics of breathing. Like it changes every moment of every day you experience, because your body goes from literally breathing as though you're under stress, like your breathing is very in your shoulders and physically replicates almost panic. And it just lets your whole physiology relax, and you can breathe like a normal person. And things like mindfulness and meditation become less awful and actually doable and become useful tools again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and what a massive like revelation to have as well, like that you needed to find the light and the joy in yourself.
Yeah.
And like just live life, right?
Yeah. And working with Sam has just made that really land. Like, as much as I was chipping away at stuff myself, working with Sam has made it all come home really viscerally. And it just feels really joyous and nurturing. And it's just an amazing thing that she does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. I can totally get where you're coming from and totally agree with you with that. And it's like being in the community of Permission Granted like supercharges everything.
It does, because you're surrounded by, like, there's this bunch of women who they're just so interesting, and they're all having similar sort of journeys and experiences and epiphanies, and just the love and support is really natural and very real.
Yeah, it totally is. I had this conversation with just about every lovely
I know that doesn't surprise me at all.
But just how amazing the community is, and like how beautiful the connections we all make are within the community. It's great.
Yeah, well, most of us are still sort of, even when we're far apart, like through social media and stuff, staying in touch and like very invested in where each other's adventures take us. Yeah,
absolutely, because like we've been on this long journey together, like 10 months like together in that journey. That's, I mean, not only life-changing, but that really cements connection. Right?
It's substantial. And if I would consider all of you guys actual friends. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. And that's why it's such a joy to get to do these podcast interviews. Okay, so what has been your biggest mindset shift then in after working with Sam in Permission Granted?
I love myself a lot more.
Oh my God. That's one. Oh, I got goosebumps. Oh,
I really do. And I've discovered and realized what I want to do with this brand new, energetic, sustainable health that I have. Like my relationship with my own future has changed because of the work with Sam, like the visualizations, the future self ones and stuff. My cynicism about that sort of thing has evaporated totally. Like, cynicism is a very successful defense mechanism, especially, and I can cynic with the best of them, especially as like a decade-long public servant, like heavens. But that cynicism about doing things like visualizations has evaporated completely, and I can just see a really fun future for myself and a really fun present for myself. I'm so disgustingly content with where my life and my relationships and myself is now. And the work with Sam sort of revealed that wonder and goodness that is right in front of my face to me.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's so powerful. Just that word, like, my relationship to my future has changed. Like, that is just amazing. Say more about that. Like, say more. Like, what are you doing? Like, what have you what are you doing that you thought you'd like never do, or never sort of wasn't on your radar until you had all these sort of eye-opening, pops going off in your brain?
Yeah. Well, really, it's things that I've always loved in a way. So, I was one of the little kids who did ballet, and that kept me very healthy and kept me out of hospital for many, many years. And now there's a fitness studio that my partner and I go to called Extend Barre, and we adore it. And it sort of dawned on me that I have the energy and the time to give back to that community. So I'm in the process now of training to be an instructor at that community. And I'm ecstatic about that. Like, it's wonderful that you get paid to do it, but I would do that for free. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm super excited about that. I never thought, there's some little part of me that I think always wanted to be an instructor or a teacher or a leader. So my first attempt at uni years and years ago was actually an education degree for early childhood education. But I didn't go through with that because working with young germy children was advised against by my health team, very strongly advised against. But it's sort of reawoken that desire to like help people be healthy. A lot of people with CF are fitness coaches, dietitians, nurses, physiotherapists. So we all come back to the stuff that brings us life. It's really interesting, actually. So I've discovered and embraced becoming an instructor, which is marvelous, and I'm loving learning it. And I've just received my course materials for the Beautiful You Life Coaching Academy this February, their February intake. Yeah, I'm really excited.
So
I looked into a lot of schools and I thought about what they say about their philosophies quite a bit, and the holistic nature of what Beautiful You does just rang so true. Like, it felt yummy and delicious in my chest, and I was like, yes, this feels like coming home in a way, even though it's a total career change, I hope. But
amazing.
It's like stepping into things that I've learnt working with Sam that I've always been meant to do.
Wow, that is so amazing. So amazing. Like the Beautiful You, I'm a Beautiful You coach as well, in that I did my training with the Beautiful You, and it is such a beautiful community. And I was kind of, when I was looking to do my coaching qualification as well, looked at all the different schools, and then I realized that all of the coaches that I follow and admire had all come out of Beautiful You, and I'm like, I want to be a part of this club.
Well, I remember you and a couple of the other women in Permission Granted last year saying, oh, I went through Beautiful You. Oh, so did I. And I was like, oh, this just confirms what I was already thinking. This is going to be fantastic.
Amazing.
Wow. And the thought of like working in a similar way to Sam, even though her background is quite different, the thought of like working with people, just getting to know them and helping them to see all the good bits inside them that they haven't worked out yet, just makes me giddy with excitement.
Amazing. So have you thought about where you want to take your business when you finish your qualification? Like, what sort of people you want to work with, the kind of coaching that you want to do?
I'm not naive enough to lock myself into something, but I love spending time with young people. So I really enjoy the company of sort of people who are in that stage of life where they're getting to know themselves and watching that. So possibly teenagers through 20s, just helping people work out the best in themselves.
Yes, I love that. I love that. And without giving too much away about the Beautiful You course, you do get to explore kind of where you want to take your business.
I've been not reading ahead. They say don't read ahead, and I've managed to hold off. So no spoilers.
No spoilers. I'll let you. It's such a magic. Like, it's a magic that you have to experience.
Oh,
I will say to ask though, have you signed up to do like the buddy coaching?
actually, I agonized over this a lot, and I have not.
If you can change your mind about that, I would strongly suggest
Right.
that you do it, because it's well worth it.
I agonized about that, but I was mapping out my time, setting myself up for success, seeing where
Yeah.
things would fit, and I wasn't convinced I could give them the amount of time that they want you to give it. So I will revisit that.
Revisit it.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
obviously,
Thank
like,
you.
no, I just would strongly suggest
Oh
if
yeah.
you can fit it in, because
Yeah.
it changes the experience.
Yeah. Yeah. It would.
Amazing. So I guess because you're just you're really just at the beginning of your journey for the future.
Yeah.
But if people want to like keep in, like, follow along with the journey with your coaching and your barre and life with CF and all the amazing things you're doing, where can they find you?
Usually Instagram. It's my favorite of all the social platforms. It's the best. Yeah. So my handle at the moment is Down with Katie Louise, which sounds, it's my last name. So it's meant to be like Get Down with Katie, which is a bit
I
naff.
got that. Amazing. So we'll link those.
I'm there. My pussycat is there a lot.
Oh yes, Muffin. Yeah, my
Yeah.
cat's sitting lying next to me in the sun,
Delicious.
being a long cat. Because she's only
I love the long cat look.
Yeah. They stretch out fully. It's like, how is that much cat compact?
Yes.
Not lying down. Like, it just becomes so much longer.
How are you nearly a meter long?
Yeah.
When you're crouched, you're a little ball. Yeah.
Yeah. She's having her morning nap, She's been awake, had a treat, time to go back to sleep.
It's a rough life.
It is.
There's lots of things to do when you're a cat. Yeah.
So I guess if you were talking to someone and they were considering joining Permission Granted, what would you tell them?
I would say come and play. It's a lot of fun. And it's not another place where you have to get ready for a Zoom call like you do for work. It's the most welcoming, come as you are space. And the work is beautifully paced. Yeah. You will, even if you think that coaching isn't for you, I think you'll actually get a lot from it and learn about yourself and have a really enjoyable time.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I love that whole part of the come as you are. Like, there's been times where just rolled out of bed, or you're sick, or you're driving the car and you just tune in and just
and
beautiful.
You never feel sort of like classroom picked on to speak.
No.
If you're overwhelmed and tired and life is being full on, you can come and just listen. And the doing the work, like the journaling with like pacing by music, is actually very clever. So it stops you from getting too ruminaty. It helps you get to the point quite quickly. It's very cleverly done. Yeah,
I love that journaling together, because the first round we didn't do that, but the second round it's just been so good to journal together, and like being able to like share if you wanted to, and realizing that like other people had similar experiences or felt the similar ways, even though like we're all so different.
Yeah. It's, even if you don't share stuff that you've written, just being present and knowing that, like seeing on a little screen, people are heads down thinking about something that Sam's just asked, is There's something magic. There's a group energy that
magic.
brings the really good answers out of you.
Yeah, totally. I was just thinking about when we were talking about how, you could just show up and like you didn't have to say anything. If you didn't want to, you could just show up and be there. And just the act of just showing up and being there, even if you're not participating, like just listening, like was still so powerful. Because I know there was a couple of times when I was like, I just couldn't participate in the group. And I just showed up and sat there and just felt so held, even though I was just sitting there, and that's the magic of what Sam's created, I think.
Yeah. Like the group is sort of infused with her energy and her approach. Yeah. And her beautifully welcoming perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the way that she sort of grounds us all into that energy at the beginning of the calls. Like,
yeah, same actually. I really like that. Her visualizations are good. And if you do the little experiments that she sets up, you get extra out of it. They're great. And phrasing them as experiments makes them very fun.
Yes. All round. I like the way you say come and play. Like, definitely. Like, come and play inside Permission Granted.
Yeah. It makes self-development just very, very enjoyable.
Yeah. Yeah. Sam's really good at her gentle accountability. Like,
it's a good way to describe. Yeah. She phrases it well. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Mega Sam fan club here.
Let's wax lyrical more. Yeah. It's quite fun.
Awesome. Well, I have just absolutely loved hearing you talk about Permission Granted and about what you've got planned. It's super exciting, and I can't wait to see it all unfold.
Me neither. There'll be some bumps, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what they are too. It's going to be good.
But
Thank
also,
you for talking to me.
to handle those bumps now, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm confident in those tools as well. They're good. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Katie. I have thoroughly enjoyed this chat on a beautiful Saturday morning.
As have I. Thank you so much for inviting me on. It was wonderful.
I'm so glad you could come. You enjoy the rest of your weekend.
I will.
And we'll chat soon.
Yeah.